Sex the Animal. Bring us into another Sunday night here on WESU, FM.org, WESU Middletown. Straight out of the heart of Connecticut, 88.1 FM on the left side of the dial. I am John. I am not here with Sir John. Sir John is under the weather tonight. So who do I have with me? I have Lou. Lou, what's going on, man?
Hey, what's up?
How you doing?
Not bad. In relation, though, to your lead-in PSA, I want to say that the National Fire Protection Association are wonderful people.
Are they good people?
I have to deal with them. I have to order stuff from them for work, and they're very helpful.
Well, look at that. I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, truthfully.
I kind of always thought maybe they might be a little rough around the edges.
No, not at all.
No?
Not at all.
Right.
I have to order manuals from them all the time.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Those sound like a really good read.
Stuff. Yeah,
really good read.
It's in depth.
All right. Pint of Comics here with you every Sunday night, 6:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. on the Eastern. Tonight, we have a man that I can only describe in 1,000 words or less. I'm going to pick the best words possible. Friend. Redheaded guy. Ginger, they might call him. Artist is important. That's super important right there. And I'm gonna go with Con family. Tom Ryan. What's going on, Tom? Uh-oh. I can't hear you, Tom. Hold on one second. I got you on here. This happens once in a while.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go over there. Lou's gonna do a little bit of vamping for a second. Lou, keep talking.
Well, yeah, no. Well, can he be heard on the radio or no?
He cannot yet.
Oh, he cannot. Okay. So yeah, once again, I have to order a bunch of stuff from the National Fire Protection Association, and they are really great people. If you ever need anything from them, definitely check them out. One quick. Oh, look at that.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you now.
All right.
Oh yeah. Yeah, this is
Hello.
pro. Hi, Tom.
Oh my God,
Hey,
here we go.
So you know what? While John's coming back in here, I think we're going to start the show on a down note, because what we're going to do is we're going to start down here and we're going to bring it up as the hour goes on.
We're going to bring it up till 11?
Yeah.
Is that what we're going to do?
And I know at the end of last year, you had a death in the family, and you posted it, and you were very sad. And why don't you tell everybody, about your cart that finally bit it after all the years of dragging?
Yeah.
I know you were sad.
I was devastated.
I know.
I tried resurrecting my cart with zip ties to make it last, just at least to the end of the season. For those of you who don't know, my cart was amazing. It was
Tom, now, let me set this up for the listeners.
Yes. Okay.
Tom is an artist. He's a great friend of the Pint. We've known him for several years now. He's Con family. We see him. We go to a lot of cons. We do a lot of that stuff. And there's folks like Tom and Robert Barron's Inc. That we've become pretty close with just from kind of mutually seeing each other. Now, we go to, I would say, a good amount of cons a year. Tom pretty much lives at cons.
I do. Yeah.
I feel weird the few times I've gone to a convention where Tom is not selling art. It doesn't feel like it's local. It doesn't this can't be really in Connecticut or Massachusetts or any of the neighboring states, because
as far as Ohio.
Tom, the Cincinnati kid over here. So Tom's cart.
Let's not talk about that.
Tom's cart, which is what he used to lug around a lot of his stuff.
All right, so let me give you a little bit of a backstory on the cart. Years before I started doing Comic-Cons, I used to do art fairs, and at one fair, I had my brother and his wife help me out bringing the tent, the paintings, prints, everything outside, and they helped out, and they're like, so this is what you do every single time. I'm like, yep. First thing in the morning, you bring out the tent, you set it up, set the whole thing up. Then as the day goes by, you break it all down that day and then bring it back. Well, they helped out once. And then that Christmas, I got a red cart to haul.
I thought you were going to start crying. I thought you were.
No, he was really devastated.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this thing was a lifesaver. I mean, I love my family for getting it for me, but I always joke, it's just like they've never helped out ever since. So
that was their help.
That was and it was a huge help because it lasted, like maybe 4 years. I beat the. Can I say hell?
Hell's
okay. All right.
Hell's okay.
All right. I beat the hell out of this thing. I brought it upstairs. You guys know the Armory in New Haven?
Yes. Yep.
But there's no elevators. And I was doing an event one time there on the second floor, and I had maybe like 100 paintings with me. And I took this thing up and down 3 times, and it just lasted so well. And at the near the end of, I think it was in Cincinnati, where I kind of busted it. And
Boy, that show, huh?
that show just keeps giving.
Man.
Or taking. And then so near the end, it looked like one of the weld seams on the wheels gave out. All right, I'm sorry. I kind of backtracked here. So what the cart is, it's a collapsible cart. So I could load everything into it, walk from my car to the vent, and then unload, tuck it underneath the table, and I don't have to worry about it. It's right there for me. And so then when you're ready, you unfold it, and it's got the wheels, and you just go on about your business. I guess maybe it was probably in Cincinnati. I was lugging it, and I hit a curb, and it probably loosened one of the welds of the wheels. So I was like, all right. I didn't think too much of it, but after that, anytime the turn radius sucked on it afterwards, I would have to make wide turns.
Did you bring? Is there like a Monroe muffler for art carts, like for Carrot? Did you bring it to a shop and the guy was like, "It's gonna cost you like $1,000.
It's gonna cost more than it's worth."
Yeah, this thing you're better off totaling it out, Tommy. I'm telling you right now, Tommy Ryan, you're better off totaling it out.
There is, but not on the East Coast. You got to go to the West Coast for something like that. So. So near the end of the season, it got so bad that I was talking to my brother, and he was like, "Oh, dude, you could probably just put a screw through there and it'd be fine." I'm like, "I don't know, man. I don't think it's going to be structurally sound with that." So I was like, "Okay, that's what I'll do once the con season ends. I'll go ahead and I'll fix the cart and everything." And so. In the meantime, I put zip ties all around it just so it kind of sat in its place. And then during the last two shows, they're just one-day shows, so it was like in and out. But the wheel completely collapsed on me on the last show, where the whole cart flipped over because the weight was just distributed wrong and it fell all over the place. And I was just like, all right. She did good. She lasted me to the end of the season.
Well, yeah. As the pack mule for Pina Comics, which I'm sure you've seen, I'm the one who carried.
Yes.
I can appreciate a good cart or a good backpack or a good bag.
Yeah.
They're
it's like
invaluable.
a member of the family.
They really are.
When one breaks, you're inconsolable.
Yeah,
I'm totally with you. That's why I was we got to start with this.
Especially with Tom being.
Yeah.
I mean, really, like I said at the top of the show, it's not a joke. Like, you really, I don't think I've ever asked you this before, so I'm going to ask you on radio.
Sure.
Like, do you have a 9 to 5, or are you just doing art?
I'm just doing art.
Wow, man, I thought that was the case.
Yeah,
because
it's insane.
Because you hustle. Like, I don't just say this because we're friends and because I respect you, but, like, you really do hustle, man. Like, you go to Cincinnati to sell your art. I mean...
Well, attempted to sell art.
But, I mean, yeah, so you're... And... Your pop art, I guess was that what you'd call it? Like your prints and t-shirts and stuff?
It's pop culture art. It's within the world, it's known as fan art. So I mean, it is what it is. It's fan art.
Give everybody the website so that while we're talking, they can go on there.
Sure. The website is TomRyansStudio.com. That's with 2 S's. So Ryan's Studio.
And when we come back on the second half of the hour, we're going to tell people that go on the website right now why they're going to want to go back later on, and especially tomorrow.
That's right.
There's some good stuff going on at Tom Ryan's website. But so you don't just do prints and stuff like that. You are also currently, and I find this very interesting. You are currently, I hope you still are. I haven't asked you this in like a month or so. You're still doing the cans for Miss Pillion?
Yes.
No, they just fired me for sexual misconduct. It was a long thing. I'm going to have HR coming on the radio show now. No.
I mean, I didn't want to talk about that.
I knew I should have asked you before. Oh, Tom, what did you do? What did you say?
No, I designed beer cans for a
you
brewery.
sold me on that for half a second. I literally thought something happened. I was like, oh no, what did John do?
I hope nothing happened.
I didn't really.
I haven't heard from them in a while.
Well, I got to be honest, and we're all friends here, so I'm going to just put this out there. When Lou started off the beginning with the death in the family, I do know from I think last year, the year before, I think it was the year before, Tom's father had passed away at the end of the year.
Yeah, Lou. I thought that's where you were going. I was like, what the hell, man?
I was kind of like, how are you going to pivot this, Lou?
Yeah.
I'm like, how is he going to pivot this? So
I missed that.
Yeah.
The cart broke my heart.
Yeah, well, the cart broke my heart, but lose my father. That's a hell of a doozy too. So.
Jeez. Wow, this took a dark turn.
No. I knew where you were going. I didn't know where you were going. And I was wondering if you were going to say, like, how did that, maybe inspire you? And I'm like, wow, he's going dark right off the bat.
I mean, he did say we're going to start here and end at 11.
I said start here like a desk level, not start here like ground level.
When he
That'd be
turned
negative.
Negative.
When I heard the word cart come out, I was so relieved.
So was I. I was like, oh, thank God.
Tom's like, these guys invite me on this radio show.
This is supposed to be fun.
Yeah.
So
Sunday night and everything. I could have
really.
been home watching HBO. That's a lie. I don't have cable, guys.
that's Lou,
It's too expensive.
Lou gives me his code for HBO. So
Way to put that out there.
What?
Right on live radio.
No, I don't think Comcast cares.
Well, they might.
They might, yeah.
Yeah,
well,
they
not this
might.
Lou.
HBO may care.
Another Lou.
Another Lou.
A different.
Oh, I know that, Lou.
That's
You know
not
that,
sitting
Lou.
right
Yeah.
next to him.
So you were
Well, in my defense, I don't use that code.
Yeah.
Like you're the only one who actually uses it. So
Yeah.
I mean, theoretically, I'm paying for it. You're using it. So like it's like a 1-for-1.
they don't care. That's
Yeah.
not
Yeah,
how
they don't
they'll
care.
get it that way.
What's that code again?
I just finished Watchmen, so maybe.
Oh, all right.
So what I wanted to ask you, Tom, is how did you get involved in this? First of all, I guess let's start before we get into the beer can stuff.
Sure.
You went to local art college, Pear.
Yes.
over
Pear
in
College
Hamden.
of Art in Hamden, Connecticut.
So you knew from the time you were a young guy that you were at least artistically inclined.
Yes.
Yeah.
It wasn't until high school when it was my freshman year in art class, they actually had students from art college come on in and kind of say, hey, look, this is what we're doing. Think about our school or whatever. That moment blew my mind that there is a school for art. I just figured I was going to have to go to like a community college and maybe just take some art classes. But the realization that, oh, there are schools dedicated to what I want to do was pretty awesome, because at that point I gave up on everything else.
Well, quite ironically, I grew up in Woodbridge, which is south of Hamden for people who might not know that. And I used to drive up Route 15 all the time. And they have the sign for Pear College of Art
Finally.
right on Route 15. And I
Yes.
grew up, seeing that sign for years and years and years. It was just like, like one of those green state of Connecticut highway signs. And I always thought to myself, who the hell would go there? And,
I went
you
there
go.
before that was actually up there. I would tell people where it was, and they're like, where's their school there? I was like, well, you know the McDonald's? It's right behind the McDonald's. And everyone goes, oh, I know the McDonald's, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's-
and it's spelled weird, too,
That's like
right?
growing
It's
up in Woodbridge.
You think of Pear like either P-A-I-R or P-E-A-R. It's like P-A-I-E-R.
Yeah,
It's like they
'cause
took both
it's-
versions of Pear and just jammed them together.
It's named after a guy.
Oh,
that's
is it?
why. Yeah, it's actually not. Although they did go ahead and adopt the pear as their logo. So
It was the school's mascot, like the fighting pear.
I don't. Maybe the dripping pear.
Yeah, I'm trying to think like what would be a
Yeah.
good pear? Like maybe like the slightly almost ripe pear.
Yeah.
Not there yet.
So
Yeah,
were they
yeah.
like Division 1A, 1AA? What, the football team?
Oh no, we didn't have a football
No,
team.
no football team.
We had a group of people that would go out and play hacky sack.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
So that kind of dates me of when that was it wasn't even popular when I went to school, but that's what was still going on.
Yeah.
So
Hacky sack exists only in two places: in Grateful Dead concerts outside,
Yeah.
and at Pear,
yeah,
any
yeah.
art school
in
in
art
America.
school. Yeah. There's
Hacky
something
sack.
else that is associated with those
Yes,
two.
yeah, there is.
Hacky sack and ultimate frisbee.
Yeah, yeah, and there's also another little thin line there, a little green line.
Yeah.
All right, so you got into it. You went to school for it. Did you initially get out of school and end up having some kind of like, even though it was an art job, like a soul crushing art job, like like where you're?
Oh yeah,
You know-
I worked at an art store for years, helping other people do art and figure out what mediums would work best for their project. And I climbed the ladder there up until I was an assistant manager of an art store that's no longer around in New Haven, but I was at Utrecht Art Supplies. And finally one day I was like, you know what, I'm done helping other people do this type of thing. It was just so draining. Like, you'd get home and you didn't have the energy or the time or the want to go ahead and create your own art. And I just got tired of doing that. So eventually I ended up finding a kind of a pointless, mindless graphic design job where we took images of people's logos and put them on pens or pencils or bags. It was really just drag and drop. Sometimes you'd have to recreate it in Illustrator. And from there, that actually freed up my time creatively. So I had to get home and I was like, all right, I got the energy to go ahead and work on, painting and everything. So it was a great moment for me to actually work the 9 to 5 and then come home and actually do what I want to do and have that job support that. That was really fun. And then I got laid off.
Oh.
And the job search started up again. I think I was unemployed for about a year because this is when the whole tank happened,
Right.
And then I got a couple small little freelance type jobs, like contract work. Then eventually started working for this other company, doing a bunch of other stuff, graphics, video work. And I did that for a couple years. And then I got laid off again. And then I was like, all right, you know what? I'm done working for the quote man, and I'm just going to do this for myself. So I started to do more art fairs. And then from there, I did my very first Comic-Con. And that was like 4 or 5 years ago. And since then, I've done mostly just Comic-Cons now because they're a lot more fun. And it's a little bit more my niche of audience with the work that I've done.
Right.
Because the art fairs, they're good. But everyone goes, oh, you should do Comic-Cons. I'm like, yeah, but they're expensive. And they are expensive to do,
Right.
So, and that's where we're at right now. And then I still pick up freelance design here and there also.
So do you even if it's not paid for like a commission, or do you art every day? Do you draw every day? Do you?
I don't create every day,
Right.
but I'm constantly promoting one way or the other. Well, I guess I do create every single day, but it's not like creating new artwork. It's a lot of times creating the promotion artwork to go with a sale or to set up listings on my shop and things like that. Or getting back to emails and figuring out contracts for freelance work. And it's just, it's work. It's busy.
Right.
And sometimes you don't get to see the results of that months later. So there are times where, your half the day is spent trying to track down someone because you have an outstanding invoice. And I get that where they're coming from. Like, they may not have the money for it, but you hired me and I got bills to pay.
Right.
So come on,
Tommy's got to break a leg.
Well, I was going to say, they always say, do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life. It's bullshit. Close. But that you answered it a little more succinctly than I was going to have you expound on it. I mean, when you decided to go into it and you said, you know what, I'm going to do this for myself, damn the man, I'm just going to hang it all out there and see what happens. You went into this kind of eyes open but eyes closed, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You don't know what you don't know.
Right.
Has the business side of it affected your love at all? Or do you still love it as much? Or are you just kind of at the point where sometimes you're just sitting there going, why do I do this to myself? You lose the creativity because of all the outside business end of it.
So, no, I still love it. And part of it is probably because of my past work experience, being a manager, managing people, managing inventory. That's how I look at the art and everything. It's print is inventory. A lot of times at conventions, people come up on Sundays looking for the deals. And I say, well, no, if I don't sell it today, I'll just sell it next week, and it's less work I have to do this week. Which opens me up to do X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, you're not a comic shop looking to get rid of all the stuff so they don't have to bring it back.
Exactly.
You're going to sell it on your website no matter what.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, it's just, I kind of lost my train of thought there. Quick, say something.
Hey, Tom Ryan here.
Hey, all right.
PSU pledge drive.
That's it. Real quick.
Yeah, real quick.
Let's do that. We're in the new year. Go to wesufm.org/pledge and give us your money, because we need money for the station. Every second you hear is community volunteers. Myself, I am a community volunteer. Lou here is a volunteer. And
I'm a volunteer for a volunteer.
You're a volunteer for a volunteer. Yeah.
Yeah.
John's got the tummy thing or whatever's going on with him. We'll check in on him later. But yeah, so go to wesufm.org and pledge. Let's get into the beer cans. How did you get into designing beer cans for a company out of Delaware?
Yeah, so that's a funny story. All right, it's really not that funny. It's just more luck. I worked with someone at the imprinting company job, and she ended up moving down to Delaware and was at this brewery, and there was a little sign that says, "We're looking for an artist." She sent me the email. I sent an email to the guy, Eric, and he kind of liked my artwork, which was at the time more like street art, fine art. It was really colorful and bright colors, animals and everything, and that's what he was really digging. So we worked out one can with one of his old partners, and from there was a lot of back and forth within that first can. And then after that, we started doing a different one, and that was more. So the first can featured a guy, and then the second can featured, I think, a sloth. Yeah, and the can's name was Reach Around.
Oh,
So we did a sloth kind of like hugging a tree.
Wow.
Yeah. So at this point, I was just like, all right, these guys are awesome. So it took like maybe 2 to 3 cans of going back and forth, where it's now to the point where they give me a call and are like, all right, here's the name of the can. We're thinking this animal. Can you have it done by the end of the month? And I'm like, all right. And then I don't talk to them until like it's done. And there's like a lot of times there's no revisions at this point right now. And I don't see any wood to knock on, so I probably just screwed myself.
no, you're good. You're good, Tom. If you want to, if people go to the website, can they see the cans on the website?
I believe I have the cans on the website. If not, you could always go to misspillianbrewing.com, I believe it is.
Misspillian River Brewing.
River Brewing.
Riverbrewing.com. They are out of Milford, Delaware, not Milford, Connecticut, Milford, Delaware.
Yes.
The cans are awesome. They're always super colorful. And,
Thank you.
Are some of your cans, I can't remember, are some of your cans pop culture inclined? Like, was there a Harry Potter one you did?
Yeah, we've done 3 Harry Potters. We've done Dank Lord, which is a Lord Voldemort can. Then we got a Snitch, the Golden Snitch beer can. There's a Hagrid can. And then there's a Deathly Hallows can. That's 4. I'm sorry, I lied.
4
cans.
4 cans. And you gave us at a con a couple of the cans.
Yeah.
And we tried them. They were pretty good.
Good.
They were pretty good. You said you were worried they might be a little, because you had them for a while.
I had them for a
They
while.
weren't bad.
Yeah.
No, they weren't. We had them one night when we recorded, and we enjoyed them. Yeah.
Cool. Do you remember which ones you got?
I do not, because it was months ago.
Yeah.
But I have the cans, so I kept the
Well,
cans.
they're art. You
well,
don't
they're
throw
Tom.
art away.
I'm not going to recycle Tom Ryan art. I'm not going to recycle Tom Ryan art.
Let's dovetail the art into something else.
Yeah.
More art. Now, you generally, like, as long as I've known you, you generally stick to, like, the prints and the big, and the posters and everything else. Have you ever thought about, like, branching out and going into something like comics? Because I know that's, like, a different style art, like, in terms of speed and having to get a monthly book out. I mean, is that something that you've thought, you know what, I want to give that a shot, or you just want to keep where you're at?
So at the time, when I went to Pear, they kind of frowned upon comic art. So they kind of got me out of that mode of wanting to do something like that.
Were you inspired by comics as a kid?
Absolutely. Yeah. That's what I primarily wanted to go to school for, was to learn how to do comics. In my senior project in high school was a mixed media comic book. And when I would go to colleges to show them the work, they were like, "What is this?" And I'm like, "Well, it's a mixed media comic book." "Well, yeah, but you don't have any of the standards. How do we know that you can paint still lifes or an apple?" And I'm like, "Well, aren't you going to teach me how to do that?"
Isn't that their job, or is that what you're paying them for?
So for a long time, I kind of got out of the idea of wanting to actually do, a full comic book. Now I'm more interested in doing like spot illustrations. So that would be like covers, book covers.
Right.
I'd love to do a couple variant covers. So if there are any local self-publishing comic people out there that are looking for an artist to do their cover, you guys have my contact information now.
Absolutely.
That's
Absolutely.
Tom at TomRyanStudio.com.
Now, you were
Two
also,
S's.
there's something you said in there that actually struck me, and my daughter, she's got some art talent, and she took a lot of art classes in high school. And she would come home from time to time, and she would say that her art teacher said, like, oh, no, that's wrong. And I always thought to myself, how can art be wrong if that's what your interpretation is?
Right.
So asking a professional artist, someone who does this for a living.
Oh, you got one here?
Well, maybe. Am I insane in thinking that, or is it like a technique thing?
It could be a technique thing. I know that there are wrong ways to do art. So you have to learn the mediums of what they can do, so then you can manipulate them. So if you do that incorrectly, I would say that is wrong. I had a guy years ago at the art store come on in. He said he was doing these fantastic oil paintings on cardboard. And oil paint is acidic, so he wasn't sealing the cardboard at all. I'm like, well, great. Within a year, that cardboard is going to be nothing. So it doesn't matter how great the artwork is, it's not going to be there. I would find that to be wrong, unless that was his point, in which case, then he was right.
Oh,
so
he was trying to do some like avant-garde thing where
it could be.
art life disappears.
Exactly. Yeah, but
everything
you're selling
dies,
them,
including
so
art.
I think if you sell the art,
that was
then you
really
want
deep
it to
like that.
last.
Yeah, so I mean, like, what you're saying is like kind of getting into the nuts and bolts of art for half a second. If like the shadow off of, say, an apple is wrong based on like the light source, then you're getting something, you're not getting that right. So down the chain, what you want to do is actually harder.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
No.
So there are elements of that could be wrong. I'm not saying your daughter is wrong.
No. I mean, because like I said, it was just something I never understood.
I would assume if it was a certain type of, and I'm not an artist, but if it was a certain type of painting or drawing, this is supposed to be a whatever you'd call it, a realistic piece. It could be wrong based on what the light would be and everything. But if it was like an apple with like this giant shadow that lay a dragon, then you could say this is an impressionistic piece or something along those lines. And in that, it would be very right. So I guess I can understand maybe an art teacher saying you're wrong is a little bit like hardcore. Yeah.
Hi, this is 88.1, and you're on Art Talk Radio. That's Tom Ryan.
Tom Ryan with his sweaty balls.
I was just going to do the sweaty ball.
You know what? This is the perfect time for us to go to a public service announcement.
Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, we're going to cue up Nicolas Cage. Yeah. Tom, listen closely to this.
I will,
because I think that Nicolas Cage has some good advice for you.
He always does.
We will be back with Tom Ryan. Tom, one more time with the website so people can check out your stuff.
It's www.tomryansstudio.com. You can find me on all social media also at Tom Ryan Studio.
You'll know it because it's got the awesome little silhouette of a guy with a beard, glasses. It's a great logo.
It is.
I'm jealous of it because he gave me a pin. Me and Lou and John have pins now of
That's
Tom
right.
Ryan's
You
face.
can buy those pins.
I cannot wait for people to ask me what is that.
I get to wear Tom Ryan's face everywhere.
That's right.
I'm so happy.
WESUFM.org. Pine Comics will be back in 2 minutes.
Hi, this is Nicolas Cage. When you're a teenager, there are a lot of things going on that can produce stress and anxiety. The pressures of school, dating, and the future in general can seem overwhelming sometimes. But there are healthy ways to deal with stress, ways to reduce it and channel your energy in positive directions. And you don't have to do it alone. The Will Rogers Institute has a free booklet with some really helpful information.
For your free copy, visit wrinstitute.org and find us on Facebook and Twitter.
Credit card debt, mortgage debt, loan debt. It's overwhelming. Sleep debt is another serious form of personal debt, and it grows when you don't sleep well or long enough. Insufficient sleep can lead to poor health and reduced quality of life. Fortunately, sleep debt is easy to pay off by taking a few simple steps. For information that truck drivers and companies can use to prevent sleep debt, visit www.healthysleepfortruckers.org. A message from CDC.
We are the Hero Initiative. Hero Initiative is the charity that helps comic book creators in medical or financial need. Superhero movies are often billion-dollar blockbusters, but many of the writers and artists who developed the characters see little or no money from that. Hero Initiative helps many of these older creators with their medical and financial needs, and now you can be the hero too. Find out how you can donate and volunteer at heroinitiative.org.
right, WESUFM.org. It's Pine and Comics. We're going to play the Thundercats theme underneath us for about a minute here.
Love it.
Part of the reason is because Tom, if you haven't already checked out his website,
Which
is a
you should.
big Thundercats fan.
Yes.
He does a lot of Thundercats art, and that's going to roll us into the reason we told you to go check his website out. You might want to start looking now. Think about it like remember Christmas a few weeks ago. You start looking at things and going, I want that, I want that, I want that. Tonight should be the night that you're looking at Tom's website and going, I want that, and I want that. And what's the reason they should be picking all these things out, Tom?
Starting tomorrow, I'm doing my fan favorites sale. So that's 20% off lapel pins, art prints, and silkscreen prints. These are the items that I sell the most at Comic Cons. So I'm offering the discount now, 20% off until January 20th. And if you spend $35 or more, you get free shipping. Only within the country though, because
You hear that, Quebec?
I'm not rich.
Not you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're out Quebec.
You can still get the 20% Canada. I mean, I'm fine doing that. It's just, it's very expensive.
International shipping's a pain.
Yeah.
I
So-
have to do that.
Terribly so.
Is it more expensive to ship to Turks or Caicos? But it's Turks and Caicos, right? I mean, I don't. That's a
I'm gonna
weird.
take
that's a
your
weird
word on that
country.
one.
So like
paperwork.
Silkscreen, like would Silkscreen include your Jurassic Park print?
It would, but I sold out of the Jurassic Park print. So I have
One of your best.
Thank you.
If I love Jurassic Park, but I'm not one of those people that's like a huge Jurassic Park fan.
Yes.
So if I was a huge Jurassic Park fan, it's very much if it's still on the site, people could see it.
It's still
the
up there,
Jeep
yeah.
chase. It's
Yes,
the
the
T-Rex chase.
must
the
go
Jeep,
faster.
Must go faster. It is awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, that was a fun one to work on. That was my first silkscreen print. What I have for silkscreen art right now is my Stan Lee tribute, which is reminiscent of a comic book corner art. Ghostbusters, a couple TARDISes or TARDISes. For all you
I think
Whovians out
just
there.
TARDIS.
TARDIS?
I think I'm gonna go with that.
Yeah, TARDIS
Okay.
is fine.
Yeah.
No, yeah, there's only one on the print, but I have multiples of that.
Of that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, you.
It's in relative dimensions and space, is what you're telling me.
That's right.
Yes,
that's right.
and time.
Look at that,
Are
and
you
time.
a big Who guy, or is that just I must.
I was a huge Whovian.
Yeah.
And I have no idea what's going on with the series now because I no longer have cable, so I don't have a way of watching it.
This is where you could use some of those codes. That
Codes,
Lou.
yeah.
Not this Lou.
I actually borrowed last season from our buddy King.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the new season premiered on January 1st.
I believe it did.
I thought.
it did.
I think it's on tonight too. The
I
new
think so.
episode.
I like it.
Yeah?
I like the direction it's in. Jodie Whittaker's awesome. Yeah,
I'm excited to see her. I'm a little iffy on the format because it looks like there's too many people
Yes.
going around.
Exactly
with,
what I said.
And
Exactly what I said.
I just think it's more dynamic if you can have two people talk rather than a bunch of noise
Yeah,
with more
right.
people, I think that's the easy way of doing it because everyone can throw out their opinion. But it's stronger writing, I think. And I'm not a writer. I have no idea. But from a viewer, I think it's more interesting if you have two people that are on that same wave. It's easier for viewers to connect. I
Right.
could be wrong. It's my opinion. Don't hate me.
Who is your favorite of the current?
David Tennant.
David Tennant. Me
Yeah.
too. Yeah. I really like Matt Smith a lot as well, but Tennant.
See, I couldn't get into Matt Smith because of the weird love triangle that was going on for so long with
Okay.
him.
All right.
And then when Clara came about, I loved Clara. So I was just like, oh, all right, he can be an interesting doctor. It was the episode where Clara was inside the Dalek, which is
Yeah.
a brilliant
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a brilliant
Souffle
episode.
Girl.
Yep.
You know what's funny about that show is
It's been going on forever.
it's been on forever.
With
But
that big
you-
break in the middle.
Even if you want to talk about, like, let's say from the Eccleston time
Yeah.
until now, the current run or whatever
Yes.
they're calling it, which I watched a good amount of. I got to the Capaldi stuff the first season, and I just had a hard time with him. I wasn't a huge fan of him as the Doctor. I get it. He was not a younger guy. He was a more stodgy guy.
Yeah.
Well, because after Matt Smith, they rebooted his regeneration cycle.
Right.
He started older again, so he was supposed to be kind of like William Hartnell.
Right.
That angry.
And I'm fine with that, but the
angrier,
point I
older,
was going to get to
person.
wasn't even so much like the character at that point.
Mm-hmm.
The David Tennant section of that, the whatever it was, 3 years,
Yeah.
and several, like, they did the movie type
The
things.
movies, yeah.
There's like nary a bad episode.
Right.
Like there might be one or two that were like,
Yeah.
He was the only one that benefited from that because I did like Matt Smith. There was a ton of throwaway Matt Smith episodes.
Oh, absolutely.
There was a ton.
Yeah.
There was a good handful of
Like
super
what?
memorable ones. Oh man, I mean I'd have to sit here and look at the Matt Smith lineup, but I'm David Tennant. I could
No, tit
name
for
off-
tat. I mean,
yeah.
it's like from the beginning to end.
Yeah.
All solid tenets. Now, to get back to Capaldi, I liked Capaldi.
Yep.
I thought it was terrible storytelling. Some of the stories, they were either too long or too short. Like the really long ones, they spread out into 2 episodes, and then the short ones that were good, they
Yeah.
could have, and they made it into a small little episode. It felt like, it just didn't feel like it was on.
Bad
And
Matt
then
Smith episode.
Sonic sunglasses.
Well, I was going to say, in Capaldi's last season, they tried to bring it back to the classic formula,
And I
like
love
the Monster
that.
of the Week, which is, I thought, the best season that they had.
Yeah.
You know, so I agree with you there. Like it was a little off at first, but when they hit their stride with it, I agree.
Yes, yeah,
know,
but it
towards
took.
the end.
I think it
Yeah.
took too long to hit that stride with
You know,
Capaldi.
And Missy is the master. Spoiler. Missy is the
dun.
master was great.
Yeah, that was a nice
She
little-
was fantastic.
yeah,
I've
She's also
heard all
great on
this.
Sabrina, by the way. If you ever get a chance to see Sabrina,
He does
the
have Netflix.
teenage
Netflix.
witch thing.
Yeah, it's a great show.
All right,
Yeah, I'm telling you.
Tom's looking at you.
You
Like,
might,
I don't know about that.
it's pretty popular. You might want to do like a Sabrina.
I've heard.
Yeah.
I've heard that it's pretty popular.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's some of the stuff that you've done prints of or art that you are not a fan of but you know is going to sell? I mean, so you're not doing this just for yourself.
Yeah,
I
no.
see your stuff all the time, and I know you have a ton of Back to the Future, which I know you love,
Back
Ghostbusters,
to the
which you
Future.
love,
Yes.
Thundercats, which you love,
Yes.
Obviously, we just talked about Doctor Who, Star Wars, which I'm assuming you're a fan of.
Yep.
But what's some of the stuff that maybe that like isn't your wheelhouse, but you're like, you know what? I could draw it, I could sell it, I don't care.
I don't. I try to stay within my wheelhouse. I've done prints in the past for certain fandoms that everyone's like, oh, you should do this, you should do this. I go ahead and I do it. I spend a lot of time and effort on it, and then I sit on the print for a year, and then I just have to clearance it out because it just didn't sell.
What was your biggest whiff?
Breaking Bad.
Really?
Yeah, and it's because I didn't watch it when it was on,
That
so
doesn't
everyone. Yeah, well, I think I got on way too late because everyone's like, "Oh, you got to do a print." So I marathoned it, and I was like, "Okay, it's good." I don't see, again, my opinion, I don't see the huge appeal to it. You know, I thought some of the episodes were strong. It's just, you know, maybe the fan base isn't there anymore, or they. What I like to think, I don't know why I like to think this, but people can see the passion in the work, and maybe because I wasn't passionate about that print, they didn't connect to it, and therefore I didn't sell it. So I personally try to stay with fandoms that I know, love, that have stand up to the test of time. And for me, that's within the 80s genre.
Right. Do you see that, like, so I'm assuming you're a big Arrested Development fan. We talked about that before.
Oh,
and you have several prints that I don't know if they're all archived at this point, but
They're archived at this point.
so even up to a year ago, if you were still selling them, was that the kind of thing that you saw people buying less and less of because
Yes.
the amount of time has now been, you know, not to mention the fact that the Netflix runs
I think
have
the
not been that
Netflix
good.
run kind of ruined it also.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't blame that. I think they just waited too long to bring the show back.
Yeah.
So, but yes, that's one I think that the fandom of it just kind of fades away. And who knows, maybe we'll see a resurgence like the series did with syndication.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, like, we've all been to tons of shows. I mean, us from like the covering it for the website and fan end, and you from actually, you know, more the vendor artist working end, and we've all seen the trends.
yes.
It's a movie comes out, and all of a sudden, a character that you never saw, all of a sudden, is sitting on every
Baby
wall
Yoda.
book and every wall.
Do you have Baby Yoda merch yet?
I haven't seen The Mandalorian yet.
All right.
Well, I mean, like for instance, they announced the Moon Knight series.
Yeah.
You know, and all of a sudden, the best character in Marvel. Now
Spider-Man.
he's everywhere. Okay.
Yeah.
When something like that happens, or they announce a movie, or no. We can have an entire program on why Moon Knight's awesome. In any event, from like, let's say they announce a Moon Knight series, and you think to yourself, yeah, you know what, I got to jump on that. Or even say like Harley Quinn. after, like the movie was terrible, but I mean, she was popular.
No, she's still popular,
Yeah, she's
yeah.
still super popular, and they're doing the movie based on her and everything else. Like, how fast is your turnaround on something like that? Like, do you sit there and go, I got to do this, or like immediately, or like what's your thought process when it comes to that?
Well, first and foremost, I'll start sketching out the concept. And if I'm liking the direction, a lot of times I'll not finish that concept and I'll start digitizing it, where I vectorize all my line work and then bring that into Photoshop and color it that way. And I say jump the gun because sometimes I'll have to backtrack and then redraw things because I was too excited to get to a point to see if it was a viable direction. And a lot of times, even if I'm working on a print, I have multiple save files where I branch off in different directions anyway. So I'll be going off into, a blue territory with doing a lot of blues, and all of a sudden I'm like, let's go into magenta colors. And then I have a magenta file, and then eventually, sometimes it all forks together, sometimes it just, doesn't. But typically, it takes about a week to work on a piece from start to finish, like a regular 40 to 60 hour week.
Yeah, so like if you go to a show and there's a ton of Harley, you're sitting there going by like a week or so, you got one ready to roll.
Yeah, if I'm familiar with like the movie that would be coming out, yeah, if I really loved it, I was like, oh, there's this really cool part, that's what I want to capture. Then about within a week. Sometimes though, because trends, they come and go so fast now, so it's just like, all right, am I chasing this trend or is it going to be there for a while? That's why I try staying true to the 80s and 90s era, because if you still like something now from then, it's tried and true in my opinion.
Yeah. 35 years is, it's solid.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Speaking from the Moon Knight fan base, don't do a Moon Knight print. And I only say that because there's only about 8 of us. And
no, actually, I know a few people.
It'll get more popular.
I will say I don't know about Moon Knight, whether he'd make a good print or not, as much as I joke about the character. But I'm pretty sure that when con season rolls around, if you have some Baby Yoda merch, I don't think you're not going to not sell it. Whether you've seen The Mandalorian or not.
I mean, it's already out there.
It has caused a fervor. You know what I mean?
It really has. It's kind of insane.
As it was completely and utterly intended to do.
Well, hey, look, let Tom get a little bit of that bucket.
I have a theory about all that, too, where it looked like because, Disney didn't release any merchandise for Baby Yoda, they were like, oh, it's going to come in 2020. Well, as soon as Baby Yoda came into existence, a bunch of us artists, we jumped on it, which is great. That's what, we want to do. We like the thing, so we produce the thing. Well, within like 2 weeks, Disney went ahead and shut all those people down, and I'm pretty sure they went ahead and go, that's a good idea, that's a good idea, that's a good idea, and then started producing their own merch based off of that.
Yeah.
My wife just texted me. She said it's the child, Jody.
That's what they call it now.
Jody.
Yes.
Yeah. Jody, it's Baby Yoda. I'm sorry.
I haven't seen it yet. I'm referring. I also know that it's not really a baby either. So
it's 50 years old.
Well, 50, I know that.
50 in his race is pretty much still.
Let me give them credit, whether you want to, and I'm not saying Lou's wrong, whether you want to say it was made for toys or whatnot.
It absolutely.
I
was.
enjoyed
merchandise.
I enjoyed the Mandalorian.
I hear it's fantastic.
I really enjoyed it. It's kind of like, it's got the first couple episodes and the last 2 episodes are like one solid story, and then there are a couple of like just kind of like traveling episodes. These things are happening.
Can we take 1 second?
But wait, I just want to make my point real quick.
But it's only 8 episodes, right?
I want to make my point real quick. Yeah,
go ahead.
Is that no matter whether you're saying it was made for merchandising, you like the show or dislike the show, I want to give Disney credit for something that never happens. I got to the end of a television show in 2019 and saw a Baby Yoda, whatever you want to call it, the child, in this little stroller thing, and I did not know it was coming. And nobody knew it was coming.
Yeah.
To have something that big happen and not get spoiled in today's day and age was an outlier.
Well, I gotta say, I think Disney's doing a really good job at keeping spoilers under wraps now. I mean, the whole Endgame Infinity War portion, I mean, the Russo brothers went ahead and said, look, guys, just keep it under wraps for like 2 weeks. All right? Like, give people time to see it. And I think that's...
That and heavy NDAs.
Yeah.
The might of the mouse coming after you.
I just got to be honest. I got to the end of that episode of The Mandalorian, and I actually went, "Oh my god, Look at that. It's like a baby Yoda.
Yeah.
And I'm never surprised by anything because I
See,
heard
I'm not going to be surprised by that.
Yeah.
I'm going to be expecting it now.
Yeah,
you
well,
know?
I semi-ruined
Way to ruin it.
He knew Baby Yoda was there.
But honestly, can we talk about just for 1 second how the plot of The Mandalorian is literally the same plot as the Clone Wars movie that everyone hated?
I mean,
honestly, it is.
That had is the Clone Wars movie the one that had
no idea.
the
Yes, it had instead of Baby Yoda,
had
it was
a
a
Baby
Baby
Jabba.
Hut.
Yeah,
it was a
had
Baby Hut.
Yeah,
but Baby Huts aren't cute, I guess.
is that the movie that had the incredibly flamboyant
Yes.
hut? Yeah,
Yes.
that was weird.
Yeah, well,
I have no idea
but that
what the
movie
hell you
also
guys are talking
The
about.
Clone
right now.
Wars
You remember the
cartoon
Clone Wars
show.
TV
Yeah.
show? There was a
Before it
movie.
came out, there was a
Yeah,
movie.
I watched it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
and
There's a
basically-
baby hut in that?
Yeah, that was what Obi-Wan and Anakin save was a baby hut.
it was garbage.
And it introduced us to Ahsoka Tano, like one of the best characters in the Star Wars universe.
That was only in the Clone Wars?
That was only in
Only
the
in the
Clone
Clone
Wars.
Wars,
She
yeah.
was awesome, and
She was in
coming
Rebels
back.
too.
Well, yeah, she did show up in Rebels.
I
yes.
did hear
Rebels
about that.
is
Yeah,
up here, man.
Rebels is.
I heard. So I'm
unbelievable.
looking
Rebels is
forward to getting the
fantastic.
Disney Plus so I can at least start watching it.
Do you have
It's on there.
Verizon?
I do have Verizon.
Do you have unlimited data?
No.
Oh, I was gonna say if you had Verizon Unlimited, you get it free for a year.
Really?
Yeah, that's how I have it right now.
I think I'm just going to do the trial and then quit like everyone
Like
else.
everyone else
has.
is doing.
Yeah.
Tonight when I get home, I've got from Christmas time. I've got about 3 or 4 movie codes at home. I'm going to send them to Tom because I want Tom to get some input here. And he
John
Yeah,
did
I
that
like,
for years.
I
with
like
Dexter.
movie. I've gotten one of your movies.
no, but I'm just going to give it right to you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm going to give you? I'm
What?
going to give you it's 15 episodes of goodness, and you'll probably have fun with it. Our buddy Lloyd gave it to me for Christmas. The Doom Patrol. I am going to give you the Doom Patrol.
Oh,
Did you hear that,
cool.
Lloyd? It's getting regifted.
No. I'm keeping the physical copies, and I'm going to give Tom that so you can enjoy that, and we can talk
Awesome.
about that because that is a really good show.
How do you feel about physical copies?
I am a big physical media guy.
Same here.
Yeah,
I mean,
With music a few years ago, I told my wife, and I don't buy much new music. New music to me is foreign. It's not. It just doesn't grab me, right?
Yeah.
Like you said, like the tried and true stuff for me is still stuff when I was in high school.
Yep.
You know, there occasionally a band will come out with an album I like. I'm okay with downloading it now because my CDs were so unwieldy. Before I'd even gotten rid of or stopped buying physical, I'd started putting them in sleeves and trying to put them in binders to make more
that's
sense.
what I do, yeah.
But on the inverse, I love Blu-rays so much that over the Christmas break, I ended up buying between gift cards and stuff like 10 new Blu-rays, and they're just stacked everywhere in my house because I have to take the time to put them away and stuff.
Yep.
But that's what I want. I want the case. I want everything. I can't. Some people, and maybe lose one of them, are fine with. I'm just going to download that. I have to own it.
yeah.
No,
see,
yeah. For me, it depends. Like comic books, I want physically.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
No, me
Things like
too,
that,
yeah.
books like that. But like music, movies. I mean, if I watch a movie, maybe 2 or 3 times, and
Okay.
then owning it, and then having it on a shelf, collecting dust for years on end, so that one day I may go, you know what? I want to watch that again. You know what? I'll just rent it.
See, I
Or,
like
on demand.
I like buying it, hard copy, having the digital, and then I don't collect like I used to. I used to have them bookshelved on a bookshelf. Now it's just like, I got comics and figures and everything. I'm an adult. I can buy what I want,
That's right.
So I actually just take them right out of the Blu-ray case, recycle that, slip it right into the sleeve just like a CD now.
But in the end, though, you still like having.
Oh, yeah. I still, because, I mean, sometimes, the internet is not always reliable.
Right.
And you want to watch. Yeah, streaming is great, but, you can't always stream everything.
But if you lose power, your TV and DVD player won't work.
True, but I also have a laptop that can play all that stuff.
Good point.
Yeah. See.
Touche, Tom. Touche.
Tom knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
Tom knows what he's doing.
But I mean, you get a
battery dies,
better
what?
picture and sound from the actual, hard copy,
Yeah.
the actual in hand and everything.
Now, I will admit this. This is just a laziness thing. I will admit this. There have been some times that I've been like let's say I'm home, right, and I've got the Blu-ray I've got a room with all my
5
stuff
feet
in it.
away.
Well,
You're not getting up, are you? This is
20
where you're
feet
going.
away.
Yeah.
And I'm on Netflix, and the movie is on Netflix.
Yes.
In my head, I go, I own the Blu-ray. I should go grab it. But then in my brain, I go, I'm not getting up right now. I play it on Netflix.
I've done that.
Yeah.
But when I've done that, I'm like, you know what? The picture would be better if I actually just went and put that
Yeah.
disc in.
Yeah,
And
then you can
sometimes
watch the
I end
bonus
up.
features if you're that guy.
Yeah. And
I
then,
do
like,
occasionally.
yeah.
The director's
commentary.
commentary.
Yeah, commentaries are hit or miss.
They're interesting.
They're interesting to me in small doses. I don't know if I've ever watched a movie from beginning to tail with the commentary all the way on. It just seems like it.
I think I did that with Christmas Vacation one year, and that was weird.
I learned something extremely interesting about Christmas Vacation. There's a show on Netflix called The Toys That Made Us. Have you seen that?
Yes.
Have you seen The Movies That Made Us?
Not yet.
It's the same people, but now it's about movies.
Yeah.
And there's 4 episodes in the first season. Dirty Dancing, which I don't care about. Die Hard, which I have not watched yet. Ghostbusters, which I have not watched yet. And Home Alone. And funnily enough, like right around Christmas, I watched the Home Alone episode. Because I watched Home Alone right around Christmas. I had not seen that in many years. The guy that directed Home Alone, Chris Columbus, he was given that movie by John Hughes because John Hughes felt bad because a year before he was given Christmas Vacation, and he quit Christmas Vacation because he couldn't deal with Chevy Chase.
Yeah.
He said and when they interview him, he never says Chevy Chase, but he goes, "Well, the lead actor on the movie that I was given was such an a-hole and was such a demeaning a-hole," and he goes on about this stuff, and he goes, "So I quit," and he goes, about 3 months later. John Hughes, because that was John Hughes did Christmas Vacation as well. He wrote that and produced it. He came to me with this script about this little kid that gets, and I said, I'll do it. Turns out to be at that time the number 3 money making movie of all time. But it's just funny that this guy, gets off. And Christmas Vacation in its own is a good movie.
Solid.
But Chevy Chase is he has a reputation, and
he does have a reputation.
Apparently, it was even then that this guy didn't want to work with him at all and quit his job.
I believe that happened with Community.
Yes, well, yeah, he got himself kind of fired from that.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, and I've only seen the first episode of that show. I got to get back to it.
Such a good show, and it gets weird near the end.
Yeah,
but shows go through growing pains.
Yes, they do.
Let's take a look at Arrested Development.
Yeah,
I'm sad now about this Chevy Chase revelation.
Well,
I really liked him.
You didn't know he's
no, I really didn't.
He only lasted on SNL for 1 year for a reason.
Wow.
He kind of got famous. He started doing movies.
Candygram.
Yeah, they got
I used to watch Spies Like Us all the time as a kid.
I know why you watch Spies Like Us. I know the scene you watch Spies Like Us for. We'll talk about it later.
We'll talk about it later off the air.
Yeah, we'll talk about it off the air. So, Tom, all right, one more time. We got a few minutes left, but I want to go through your stuff again. What do we have coming up this year for cons? I know you said there's not a lot booked right now, but you've got at least a couple going on.
Yeah, so last year I did about 25 shows. I'd like to match that again, but as of now, I only have 2 completely booked. The first one is in March. It's Connecticut Gamer Con, done
Mitch
by
Halleck.
our friend Mitch, who does Terrificon.
Yep.
So that is definitely in the books. And then one of my all-time favorite shows is down in Washington, D.C. It's called Awesome Con. This will be my 4th year there, and it's great to go down. It's
awesome.
a bigger show. It is pretty awesome.
It is an awesome show.
Yeah, Lou went last
That's
year.
right.
for
You were
us.
there last year.
I was
You
there last
interviewed
year.
me. Yeah.
What I mean that convention center they have is unbelievably
It
big.
is. Yeah.
And I think I had said at the time that it probably handles darn near the same amount of people as New York. I mean, like over the course of the days I was there, but you never feel cramped like you do at the Javits.
Yeah.
Because that place is so big. It's like a whole city block.
It is.
And it's unreal.
In previous years, they would do 2 shows at the same time. So one side was Awesome Con, the other side was, I think, Science Con.
Science Con, right.
Yeah.
But they had everything in it this last year and like segmented.
Yeah.
Which was actually pretty cool. And they had like the little Kids Con corner and they had the Science Con place. Yeah, no, I thought the way they ran it and the way it all flowed was actually really, really good.
Yeah, it's a good show, good people, very accepting audience that goes there. I mean, everyone's happy to be there. It's always sad when you see someone at a comic book show and they're frowning. And I'm just like, what are you doing here?
What happened to you?
Yeah, it's just like, what happened?
This is a fun place.
Well, I missed the interview. And I was like, all right.
Who cares?
You can YouTube it,
But
you're looking at my art.
Can I put you into a Jurassic Park screen? What's going to take for me to get you into an Arrested Development print today?
There's always money.
exactly.
Look, there's always money in the banana stand.
That's right. I've got on my backpack right now. I've got the pin.
That's right.
And that's another thing. I don't want to get too far into it, but you do great pins.
Thank you.
A lot of Nintendo-based stuff.
Yep.
I've been talking to my wife off the Yoshi pins for ages. 'Cause I'm like, don't even get started on those.
Yeah, because those are blind buy too, right?
Yeah, those are blind
and
bag,
she's gonna
yeah.
and like I would end up like a mortgage payment would get missed. You know what I mean? I'd just be drowning in Yoshi
You
pins.
gotta collect them all.
I
There's
know.
like I think 12 colors
Yep.
that I offer.
Have you had anybody attempt to get them? I mean, it's hard to say if they can because
I had
it's a
someone
blind bag.
privately contact me about wanting to buy each a particular color, but I've already bagged them, and
Right.
I had to say I'm sorry, I can't do that. And, and he said, "Oh, all right. Well, I've just been burned before with blind bags." I'm like,
Right.
"Okay." He's like, "I wanted to collect them all." I'm like, "That's kind of hard at this point because 2 of them were very limited. I only made 25 each of those colors, and I'm pretty sure both colors are sold out at this point." So
Beauty. All right, Tom, give
the
everybody
nature
your
of the
website
business.
one more time and give everybody out there what's going on again starting tomorrow.
All right, so starting tomorrow, I am offering my fan favorite sale, which is 20% off my lapel pins, geek art prints, and my silkscreen prints. You can find them all at tomryansstudio.com. That's 2 S's. And if you are so inclined, please feel free to stalk me at all my social media accounts, which are all under Tom Ryan's Studio.
And I stalk him quite a bit
All the
I
time.
like to see Tom complain about the USPS. The Postal Service is
those guys.
like Tom's Lex Luthor.
Like honestly, if you ever wanted to get an in-depth look at the life of an artist, going through the trials and tribulations of their day-to-day life, follow Tom on social media.
Yeah.
I mean, he generally he doesn't
I
pull
air my
any
trash
punches.
out all the time.
Yeah. And I mean, if you want to know, if you sit there and say, "Is the art life for me?" Follow Tom.
Yeah.
And see what he goes through and make an informed decision that way.
All right, Uncle John is up next with Dead Air, show number 7,246.
47.
47. I'm always wrong by one on that. We'll be back next week. Pine of Comics, WESUFM.org, and we will see you. Thank you, Tom.
Thank you, guys.